Hello there. Oh shit, that was probably a bit too loud. I did not expect my phone to just vibrate like that. But today I'm gonna be doing a tier list of stuff I know. It's a good excuse to talk since it's stuff I know and I could rant for hours about. The first one I'm gonna do is the COD Zombies map tier list. I see a lot of them that gas up Black Ops 3 despite the maps not being that good. I thought I'd give my own little spin to this. Let me just do the PP to make sure chat's good. Alright, it's good. Right, so the first map, the one that started it all, Knock the Untoten. Though it's iconic and everything, starting the whole thing as called Zombies, it's not really that good a map. And this is the World at War version, so it's not even the best. There's a lot of good things, a lot of bad things, from like small little Easter eggs that, like the exploding the not the TNT, the barrels to get the Undone song. That's a nice little song. It's like a little unfinished project at the time that they decided to throw in here. And then the sniper cabinet, that's like one of the biggest trolls everyone knows about, gives you a scope, I think Car 98. I don't really remember, it's been a while. But yeah, it was a pretty bad weapon and it's too expensive when you can just buy the regular one down at the wall for like way over half the price. What else did I have? Little radio. I think the radio might have been in Black Ops, the Black Ops 1 version though, so I'm not gonna pretend that's there. So for iconic and legacy, I would put it at D, but as a map on its own, I put it as F. Baruch is the one that introduced us to many things like the perks. The perks became a staple in every map that came ever since. Juggernaut, Double Tap, Quick Revive, and Speed Collate, yeah. They also gave us like the introduction of characters like the Marines. Before then, they were Marines too, but they wouldn't really talk aside from like the generic grunts or like yeah or reloading. But this one gave them a little bit more personality, and the map and the themes and everything in it. It was really good. I put it as a B tier. And the super sprinters at a high round. That's like I think it's the only map I wrote of where that had them. There's like an unexpected little reward or challenge. I don't know what you would call it, which would make it an A tier. And then Shino Numa. This one's mixed. A lot of people don't like it, but a lot of people do like it. Gold introduced us to the Wonder Waff, one of the most iconic weapons that keeps being brought back every game. I think the only one that hasn't been in this in Black Ops 2 and technically Black Ops 4, but the sniper version was in it, so I don't know if you want to count that. One of the things that was controversial about this map was the rotating perks. Like one game it's in one area, the next one is in another one, then it's in another one. And it also introduced dogs, another staple of the zombies game. Around where everything goes foggy, the announcer goes, "Fetch me their souls," and then out come the dogs. And once you end a round, you're always rewarded with a max ammo. The dogs weren't that much of a challenge, but they were something new. They were way faster than the regular zombies. I think they were faster than super sprinters, but I'm not really sure. And I think they were also weaker in damage. I think without Jug, they would down you in 3 hits as well. I'm not really sure. And the mud, not the mud, the water. Since we're in a swamp, there's a lot of water. And I know the trick is jump, walk, jump, walk, jump, walk. But a lot of people, found that annoying and would always get down in high rounds thanks to the water. Also, there's like some terrain that you could get stuck on. And since you're stuck in the water and in the terrain, you're kind of screwed. There's also one of the maps where like people get the most highest round. I think the highest round is 2019 or 2320. I forgot. But I really like this map, regardless of all the little nuances. And on the mobile port, there was like a small little Easter egg called Peter's Grave, where if you open every door, get a shovel, and you dig it, you get a free Wonder Waff. That was pretty cool. But it's only in the mobile version, I'm not sure. There's also the hanging guy. I think that was Peter, who's hanging there because his parachute failed and then he got hung and died. It also introduced a lot of radios that were cool and, dropped a lot of lore thing and hinted at what's to come next, like the Reese. When you first hear it, you're like, what the hell's the Reese or the Giant? And then we find out in the next map, it's where it all started. So for everything, I mean, even the mobile port stuff, I kind of want to call it B tier because for me, this map's pretty good. The Reese, where it all started. This map has a lot of memories for a lot of people. From camping in a catwalk, the what was it? The monkey Easter egg, and a lot of other stuff. This is where Easter eggs really started being implemented, or at least teased in like its most primal version. The fly trap Easter egg is one everyone knows. You shoot the little fly trap tower all the way at the end with a pack a punch weapon. A bunch of toys go up in the air. They fly out and across the map. Samantha says, "Let's play hide and seek," and then you gotta find them all. And I'm pretty sure that's it. You gotta shoot them. She says, "You win, game over." Well, at the time it was like a nothing burger, but like way on into the giant, it shows that it's like a beacon, so Maxis can find you, or well, Doctor Maxis, not some hint of Maxis. And then they also introduced Pack a Punch, another staple to zombies, which became one of the best things to be introduced. Gave us the powerful weapons, made every weak weapon into a goat, like the pistol became the M1 Biatch or something. I forgot the name of it. And it also gave us camels for like our pack a punch weapons. In Darius, it was really cool. It wasn't like as flashy as the new ones, but it was really nice. And it gave us a cute, cool pew 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 noise. And I forgot to say, Chino Numa introduced us to the Ultimus gang. Dempsey, Takeo, Nikolai, and Rick Toffin. And Darius kind of expanded on them. The trailers made it seem like they all die at the end, but as you can see, they didn't die. Kino der Toten, one of the most played maps ever, mostly because it was a launch map. And since it's a launch map, you don't need DLC. And I kind of more played the Nocturne Toten because Nocturne Toten used to require you to finish the campaign, and then you wake up at Nocturne Toten and fight the undead. But for Kino der Toten, you can just go straight from the start. And nobody can forget the iconic, transition screen from when you turn from regular game into zombies mode, and the music plays, everything goes red, and then the pounding. Hudson goes off screen, comes back, and he's a zombie trying to break into your room to eat you. And the TV's on the side. It just shows like undead masses killing people, the CDC fighting back, and you see the apocalypse unfolding from the perspective of things you don't usually see in the game. But that's not even about the map. That's just like the lobby menu itself. The map itself is pretty iconic. It's a German movie theater, or well, a Berlin one, because the Berlin wall's in the back. They don't really specify it's in Berlin, but people have been doing the research, looking at everything. I think they even found out what theater specifically it's based off, but I don't really remember that because it's not really that relevant to the story. There's a few little Easter eggs, nothing much for the launch map, at least back in its heyday. Now launch maps are riddled with Easter eggs, but this one had some little things from the canister being filled with aliens that ended up being retconned into the keepers, and then the introduction to the Nova crawlers, who were basically brap zombies that were crawling, and they would only come in once you turn on power. Dogs came back in this map, and they were also in the Reese. And they introduced Thundergun, one of the most iconic Wonder weapons as well. I guess every Wonder weapon's technically iconic, but there's ones that are like most iconic, others aren't very iconic. And let's see what else introduced. Introduced traps. No, traps already in Darius and Gino Numa. They also had like little side Easter eggs that were never like expanded upon until Black Ops 3. And I'm pretty sure it was just like not even an intended Easter egg. I think it was just a glitch that became an Easter egg in later iterations. It had like the little CD reels that every time you teleported to, you would go somewhere. Like sometimes you teleported to Samantha's house, which was just like a irrelevant room that was Samantha's house, but later on got expanded into being like in the house, like the main house in Revelations, this tiny one right here. And it was take to like a medical facility, and they had like these reels that you put in the projector, and it would show screens, and the radio would play. Overall, it's a pretty good map. You know, nothing too amazing, but nothing too lame. It's a good, perfect beginner map. 5. This one, this one's kind of like iconic, also hated on because of how small it is. I remember when I used to play it back when it came out. I hated this map because it was like very tight. I only ever wanted to play as JFK, so if I got anyone else, I would just quit the game, restart, try to get JFK again. And I remember all the glitches, like at the spawn, you gotta knife that window, build 2 barricades, jump on the side, jump on the table. I wouldn't really count that as iconic, but you know, it's something I'm pretty sure a lot of us remember if you played this back in its heyday. And the only way to unlock it, well, I think when the first game first came out, you gotta break out of the table, I mean the chair, go to a table in the back, and you gotta enter Treyarch unlock all or something like that. Or you can finish the campaign, and once the credits finish, you get like another cutscene, an iconic cutscene of JFK giving a speech to like these 3 other people, and then it gets interrupted by Nixon, and he gives another iconic quote, and then Nixon's like hears thunder or like something in the back, and like it sounds like someone's breaking in, and you're like, it's just a storm, Dick. Sit down. Then the zombies break in, they all panic, and then JFK goes to the back, hits this wall, and then a bunch of weapons come out, and they're all like, they pose in aura form, and then the map starts. I'm pretty sure everyone remembers that scene because it's really cool, and it's, you know, the quotes are really amazing. And let's see, the map itself is like a mix of the campaign Pentagon episode and Nova 6 episode, not Nova 6, the Rebirth Island lab. I don't know why they did that. Maybe they want to like quickly reuse the assets, but why? Or maybe, you know, the Pentagon just decided, hey, let's have a similar area. Let's copy them. And then there's the pig. You know, everyone remembers the pig. Either try to keep it alive as long as you can, or you kill it instantly the second you get in the room. Usually I try to keep it alive, but whenever I play in public matches, they kill it. And let's see, had the Winter's Howl. I like the Wonder Weapon for the concept alone, but it's pretty bad. It falls off really quick, and you're better off using any other weapon. And the Pentagon Thief. Everyone can't forget the Pentagon Thief. One of the most either annoying or one of the best things you can find. Once killing it, if you kill it before it takes anything, you get a bonfire sale. That's when it was first introduced. The bonfire sale was something a lot of fans loved, but Treyarch never brought back that much because how broken it'd be. It would make Pack-a-Punch only 1,000 points, and for like basically a fire sale but for Pack-a-Punch. If you get your weapon stolen though, and then you kill him, you only get a max ammo. It was like the equivalent of the dog rounds, and it was like one of the first introductions for a boss zombie because it had so much health, and it would stack like per round and per player, so it'd be pretty powerful in a 4-player lobby compared to like a single player. Here comes the first DLC of Black Ops 1, Ascension. There's a lot of good and a lot of bad for this map. Good, the black and white aesthetic before power turns on. And it was like technically the first Easter egg. I say technically because, you know, Darius, Verruct, I mean, Numa had small things. Verruct had like little scary Easter eggs, but nothing too major. But Ascension is where like all of these Easter eggs stem from. You had to like, you load in, you get Gersh saying, help me, he's scared of Samantha. And then you gotta go on a whole entire quest. It could only be done 4 players, and at the time, no one really knew what it was. I'm pretty sure it took like data mining for people to find out there was like an Easter egg, which kind of ruined it. But if you think about it, out of all of these maps, it mostly took some data mining for most of them and people leaking stuff because they were upset at Treyarch. So it kind of, you know, makes sense that the first Easter egg ever was kind of leaked via leakers. The Easter egg is pretty complicated. I don't really remember all the steps because I don't have any friends, so I never did this Easter egg. And since it couldn't be done solo, I couldn't do it. But the climax is you gotta get the ray gun, the thunder gun, the Matrushka dolls, and the Gersh device and throw them all at the little ball, which is Gersh. And then keep firing and firing until you kill it, or well, not kill it, but power it. And then he goes away. You get rewarded with all the perks, or perkaholic, as this term is, nowadays. The bad, I would have to say, is the map is pretty big, and with Ascension, there's like monkeys. The monkeys, every time they come in, they're the equivalent of the dog rounds, but they would steal your perks. They would jump on the little perk machines, they start humping it, and your icon starts flashing. So that means you gotta rush to the perk. And since this is a giant map, even with stamina, which got introduced in this map, it takes forever to go from one side of the map to the other, which all the perks are like across the map from each other. So if you had multiple perks, you were bound to lose one or two, unless your teammates also had it and they were each standing at it. Since it's only 4 perks, so one person had one perk, one person had another perk, and also introduced PhD, one of the most beloved perks ever. It would consist of you diving off pretty high platform, and then you blow up. And you were immune to explosive damage and splash damage from the ray gun. They also introduced like fast travel with the lunar landers, which were, prominent for the Easter egg. For me, it's a B map. I didn't really like it, but I did like it when I got to get good rounds on it. I would only buy Jug and Quick Revive because those are fairly close to each other, and if you buy the doors in a certain order, the monkeys will never touch Juggernaut, and they'll only go by Quick Revive, and then if you gotta defend one door, and they'll never touch it. Call of the Dead, one of the most iconic maps for what it introduced. Celebrity guest. It starred, what was his name? Danny Trejo, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Robert Englund, and Michael Rooker. And also the grandfather of zombies, George Romero. The gang, they were shooting a movie in this Siberian outpost that used to be run by Germans and the Nazis. I don't know if I can say that word on this YouTube without getting bonked, but here they experimented on people, creating zombies. It was another facility. It's not shown here, but later on, Tag Toten, there's another facility you could zipline like somewhere in the mountains where they experimented on the Ultimates crew. Here we got introduced to Deadshot Daiquiri, consoles players' favorite perk. Not much for PCs and who pretty useless, but for console players, this is one of the greatest perks ever. It would like auto aim your gun towards the head of the zombies whenever you aimed, and then it would, easy headshots. The map itself was riddled with bugs. From I think the highest round for a long time people could get to was like 20 or 30, until like recently where they found a way to make it so you could go higher than that. I know it sounds like it's easy to get to that level, but like it would crash a lot. And I'm pretty sure the problem was something with the box. I don't remember, but you need like the VR11, which is the new wonder weapon introduced in this, which would turn zombies into humans, and you had to do some kind of nonsense with that to get to any higher round without crashing. I don't remember the specifics, but it was really complicated, and it took like over a decade just to figure that out. I also introduced a scavenger, which was one of the best best weapons to, equip with PhD. You would just shoot it, it explodes, kills zombies, and a lot of stuff. The Easter egg for this map was pretty cool. You play as the cast, the Ultimates crew, Richtofen, Tekio, Dempsey, and Nikolai were all trapped in some little container, and you had to like work to get them out of there. But at the same time, they would make you do stupid stuff like get a vodka thingy for Nikolai, shoot a bunch of things off the map with Semtex grenades or regular grenades or anything explosive. George Romero wasn't really important to the Easter egg. He was kind of just there as a boss. that you kill, he would drop the Wonder Waffle. Well, that was only after he did the Easter egg, but before that, he would just drop a Death Machine and a perk. So once you pick up the perk power up, which I'm pretty sure was introduced in this map, you get a random perk. And it was really fun to kill him because he had like, I think, a million health in solo games, but 4 million in 4 player. So it would really be a group effort unless you just shoot him in the water with the VR11 and he goes away for a round, but you don't get any rewards for that. For me, it's a B tier. The remake some fan did on Black Ops 3 was made it kind of better, but this, just here, base map. Shangri-La. A lot of people hate this map, mostly because it's like a tight map, tighter than anything we had before. 5 doesn't compare to Shangri-La. There's a bunch of traps that hurt you, and while you're just stepping on them. Because, it's an ancient temple, and you know how, Indiana Jones, so it has ancient temples with traps? It was basically that. It introduced the baby gun, or I don't know how to say the numbers. Let me look it up. The 3179 JGB215. It's the baby gun that it will shrink any zombies you shoot. It's not a baby gun, but the community kind of called it the baby gun because the name was outrageous. So you shoot the zombies, any zombie, and they would turn small, and then you could like run towards them and kick them, so you could punt the baby, which is kind of funny, but I don't think it's that powerful after a while. I think it is, maybe. I don't remember. I haven't gotten the high rounds on this map really because it's pretty hard, given that it's small. It also introduced 2 types of zombies. The called the Shrieker and the Napalm. The Napalm is like a fiery zombie. Whenever it gets near you, like your screen has a fiery effect. I'm not sure if it gives you damage for that, but it shows fire. Pretty sure the zombies get set on fire too. And once you kill it, he blows up. And this explosion could hurt you and burn you if you walk over it. And the Shrieker zombie was like a really fast zombie. It's like a super sprinter, but whenever it gets near you, it would scream at you and you would get concussed. Your screen would get all blurry, you'd slow down. And when you kill him, it does the same thing as the napalm, but Shrieker effect. The Easter egg involves a time loop, which is, I guess foreshadowing what all of this is. 2 explorers, Gary and Brock, get stuck in a time loop until our team arrives. They break the cycle, cause an eclipse, and then we free them. And this was all part of Richtofen's plan, all these maps. Well, starting Call of the Dead. Ascension, I don't think he was really planning on anything there besides, going there. So in Call of the Dead, they get the goldenrod and give it to Richtofen, which makes him say thank you, give you the Wonder Waff, and then they go away. And then in Shangri-La, the Easter egg continues. You gotta shrink a meteorite using the baby gun and cause an eclipse, going through time loops, filling up holes, a lot of stuff. Once you get the meteorite, you free Gary and Brock from the time loop. But I'm pretty sure they still die in the end because it kind of foreshadows that whatever happened at the end happens again and they die. The meteorite is like powered by 115 and a whole bunch of nonsense. And then the whole Shangri-La in Mars theory came out. That was funny. All because some leakers found Mars in texture and there's like a mountain that was red. And it later gets brought up in other maps as a joke. Moon. This is where the climax of everything that's been going on, World at War, Black Ops 1, all comes to a head. Richtofen with the focusing stone, I think it was called, and then the goldenrod can finally achieve his plan of getting rid of Maxis for good. In Moon, we go to, well, the moon, but we start off at Area 51, Groom Lake. Everything's all peaceful. There's no round timer, and then zombies spawn in. They're slow. You think, oh, this is easy. I can just farm here. Pack-a-punch is here. Juggernog or Speed Cola sometimes. I can stay here forever, farm points, and then get all set up, and then go to the moon. But then nope. Alarms start ringing because intruders, us. And then everything goes to hell. The zombies start sprinting, dogs start spawning, and then if you don't get out in time, you're fucked. Because you get overwhelmed really quickly. it's kind of a lot of people take it as a challenge to, get the perk, get pack a punch, and then get out, because that's how hard it is. And it's Black Ops One, so there is no wall weapons here, and the weapons either way are pretty weak. So you're only stuck with your pistol and your grenades. You only get like two grenades. You don't ever get refilled because it's round one. Well, round zero technically, and you only get grenades. I'm pretty sure as the round progresses. I don't remember. I think you don't get grenades as round progresses in this map. And then if you gotta stand in the teleport for a bit, and after a while, it teleports you to the moon, where you start dying of suffocation because there's no oxygen on the moon, which makes you run towards an area like to the side of the map where you gotta put on a spacesuit. Oh no, the spacesuit is right at spawn. I forgot about that. Then once you put it on, you can breathe, move around freely, bounce because there's no gravity on the moon. But what I recommend is not throwing a grenade in the spawn room because once the power turns on, that area gets filled up with oxygen and it's all good. But if you throw a grenade, there's a chance you break the windows. And when you break the windows, the oxygen goes away. So now you can move in that area freely and you could bounce again, but no oxygen. So your suit would be, necessary in there. The Easter egg, it revolves around you. What was it again? You gotta play Simon Says. You gotta fill up a pyramid, and once you fill up the pyramid, it's revealed that Samantha's in there. And the reason Samantha controls the zombie is because the pyramid or the MTD, the moon something device, I forgot what it's called again, is where the controls of zombies come from. You get transported to the Dark Ether, not you, but whoever's in there, and then they can see everything and control the zombies because they get the power. And then that's only for the solo portion, or the beginning portion. Afterwards, you swap bodies, or Richtofen swaps bodies with Samantha, and now he's inside a little girl, and she's inside him. And there's new quotes now, because now you're playing a Samantha, so you talk as Samantha, and you have the personality as Samantha if you're playing Richtofen. The zombie's eyes then turn blue, indicating that Richtofen now owns the zombies. And then Dr. Max's, he tells you of a new plan. You gotta play Simon Says again, and then the cutscene that everyone remembers happens. The rockets going up into space and destroying the moon. Destroying Earth. Then you get Perkaholic, you get a death machine, I'm pretty sure, for like 90 seconds. And then when you go back to Area 51, you can see the aftermath of the effects. The sky gets all red and destroyed, there's fire everywhere, and Earth is doomed. For a long time, that's where everything for our crew from Black Ops 1, it just ends. We don't hear about them ever again, and it's just speculated that they died up in the moon. Also, fun little tidbit. Moon takes place in like 2022, I'm pretty sure. It's never actually specified until the Chronorium. And yeah, no one hears about the OG crew for a while. Then here's just like the remakes. I say knock is a C in Black Ops 1 version because we get Mule Kick and a Thunder Gun. Burrell, I'd say it's still an A tier. We get the Winter's Howl in this version and Mule Kick. Shinonuma, same thing. I don't think we can introduce any new wonder weapons in this version. I think it's just the same thing, but Black Ops 1 guns. The Reese, same thing. Black Ops 1 weapons. You get the occasional wall weapons from World at War, Mule Kick, and nothing really new changes. Oh, they put the singular maps. Bus Depot, I put in D tier. It's the same equivalent as Knocked. Oh wait, give me a second. Alright, I'm back. I had to charge my phone. I mean, not my phone, my laptop, because I forgot to charge it. It was dying. Alright, let's see. Okay, so Bus Depot. I put it around Knock, maybe a Black Ops 1 version of Knock, because it was kind of like a bare bones map. You start in the Bus Depot area, like in transit, and then, you open the door, and that's it. Your only perks are Quick Revive, and I think Mule Kick's in here, but probably not. But yeah, you get Quick Revive, and then the box is like right here. And that's it. You're locked in here. There's nothing else. You just spawn in, you get the perk, and you survive. With DLC 3 of Black Ops 2, the Mark II came in the box in every map. So it made the map a little bit better for survivability, but not that much. Farm is like a better version of Bus Depot. You get all the perks. There's double tap up here. Juggernog in the house. Quick Revive is somewhere in here. I forgot where. And then Speed Cola, I forgot where it is. I think it's like in a little shed right here. But it's better. You can't really survive much in here because you don't have Pack-a-Punch either. You get the box and the rooftop. I think it's a permanent area too. And that's it. There's not really much to talk about. Now town, this is the survival map everyone loves. You got Pack-a-Punch here in the middle. You got Juggernog up here. You got Quick Revive in like the little box area behind this picture. Like where the POV of this picture is, where Quick Revive is. Speed Cola's in the bank to the right. And then all the way back here is Double Tap. And then a little bit left, right is Speed Cola. And if you're playing 4 players, Tombstone is somewhere on this map. But if you're not, it's not here. And this is like the perfect survival map, like for casual zombies in Black Ops 2 or Black Ops 3 if you played a fan remake. It's just a bare bones survival map. It's pretty good. I put it under Reese tier because I've played this map a lot. And with Black Ops 2, there's modifiers, so you could spawn in dogs to make the game a little bit easier. So you could get infinite max ammos every other round whenever they spawn in. But there's not really much to do outside of just, a casual survival experience. Transit, a lot of people used to hate transit. Like everyone despised transit. Whenever you think of a map not to play, it's transit. But nowadays, people pretend to love it. I don't know what happened. Maybe they just don't like anything new, and they gaslit themselves into liking it. But I always liked transit. Transit was like one of the most brave, or I don't remember the phrase right now, but it was like a brave map where it did something no other map did. It did a big map. At the time, the consoles and PCs weren't strong enough to handle it. So there's like a bunch of fog, hiding the map so they could load in as you traverse the fog. And introduce one of the most annoying enemies that aren't really annoying if you know how to play the game, the denizens. The denizens were like little midgets that were like crawling in the fog. And every time you step in the fog, they would come out and try to scratch your face off. But like if you run, turn around once you hear them and shoot them or knife them a bit, they go away. People gaslit themselves and thinking they're like these obnoxious things when they're like a minor, nuisance at worst. And they're like less of an issue if you have the Bowie knife or the Galva knuckles, which introduced in this map. It's like a fist that you punch electricity. If you get the Bowie knife and you turn around and the knife right they're about to jump on your face, they instantly die. So they're not that bad. And then the Galva knuckles, you could like hit them once when they're in your face and they go away. But the Galva knuckles, I can see why you don't always get it, because the part to get to the Galva knuckles is used on the bus. So you gotta choose going on the bus on top from the inside or the Galva knuckles. So it's whichever convenes you the most. I say I always put the bus ladder up because it's a quick escape. Like if you're stuck by zombies in the bus, you just jump up there and get out. And it's kind of better than just a punch. And all these survival maps, town, farm, bus depot, and the power station, which isn't a survival map, it got scrapped, are all in this. So you go from the bus depot, the bus picks you up, it takes you to a diner, which is in here, I think. Yeah, it isn't here. It takes you to a diner. There, you find parts for the shield. And this is like one of the first map where buildables are really introduced. They were in the previous maps, but mostly like not things you actually use, just parts for the Easter egg. But in transit is where, you start wearing them and using them. So in the bus depot, I forgot to mention, for transit, is where you get the turbine. It's built out of mannequin, a tail, and a fan. You build it right inside the bus depot. It's one of the first buildables, I guess, to introduce you to the concept of building stuff. And it opens up things that require power without power. So like the door to the left, I believe, over here, you need power to turn it on. So you would put down the windmill and it'll open the door. Inside the door, sometimes there's a ladder for the outside of the bus, so you climb from the outside. Or it's the little mouth part that you put to like ram zombies. No, yeah, it is the ram part. The ladder is somewhere else. It's in the farm. So from the bus depot, you go to the diner. There you find parts for the shield. The shield becomes beloved because you can't get back shots, and everyone loves not getting back shots. The mystery box is usually always at the diner at the first thing. So you go there, get the box too, if you have enough points. That is, because usually the bus leaves the bus depot very quickly, so you gotta kind of rush out there. From the diner, you go to the farm. Nothing really much in the farm. There's like a claymore to some. No, there's claymores right here in the little shed. And in the shed, there's sometimes a buildable part for the bus. And then you could use that, build it, and then go get out of your way. The ladder from the outside of the bus. Double tap is usually up here. And there's a teddy bear over here to the house that you could activate for the Easter egg song. The other teddy bear, I believe, was in the bus depot. I haven't played this map in ages, so I don't remember. And from the farm, you go to the power station. The power station, what it sounds like is a power station. You gotta enter a little. Oh wait, give me a second. I'll be back. All right. Wait, I don't know why my mouth's open. I wasn't even on the camera, but all right. Where did I leave off? Power station, right? You open the little shed, and you gotta drop down. In the shed, once you drop down, you see there's a big little generator area. You could think nothing of it, but you gotta build a power station. The power. What's it called? Well, the power. You gotta build it. You gotta buy the handle, get the arm, which is like a random arm. You at first you think it's like a zombie arm that you killed, but nope, it's a buildable part. And then you gotta get the panel. Once you build that, you turn on the power, and then it happens. Electricity everywhere. You see a little thing pop up, and you see a man, or what you think is a man. It's electricity in the form of a man. This man, or electric being, is called the Avogadro. At first, there's no lore to him until later on. You have no idea why he's trapped there. He's just trapped there. You free him, and he escapes. You think nothing of it. Thunder starts roaring in the skies now, and access to exit the shed is now available. You go up the ladder, you see there's like a catwalk. The catwalk is broken though, so you gotta jump. If you fail to jump, you die because you fall down. Unless you get really lucky and land on the little block below, you're gonna die. And once you go across, you can gather the parts to build the electric trap, but no one really does that because it's kind of useless without the turbine. And right over the catwalk jump is Tombstone, the newest perk. I'd say it's a pretty good perk, but for transit, it's kind of terrible because if you die across the map, you're never gonna get it. Unless your team camps in one area and then like you bleed out somehow, and then you revive the next round in that same area, then it's pretty useful. But the gist of it is it drops a little tombstone power up, and everything you had, your weapons, your perks, everything comes back to you once you pick it up. Okay, then from the power station, you go to the town. But the town, it's kind of locked. You gotta open the bank, and once you're in the bank, there's a little vault door. You gotta throw a grenade at the door, and it blows up. There's another section in there that you can blow up as well, but it's also locked, and all you see is a little square of electricity. At first, no one knew what this meant. And eventually, you found out at the power station, once you jump down the shed, if you look behind you, there's another square with electricity matching the one from the power station. So you gotta get the turbine, put it there, at the one at the shed, run all the way to town, into the bank, down that hole, down that same room, you'll see a tunnel opened. In the tunnel, there's a little lab area. If you go all the way to the back, you'll see an empty space, but along the way, you'll see parts for Pack-a-Punch. That's where your Pack-a-Punch is built. That's mainly the main reason why people hate transit. Because from the trip from the power station to town, 8 out of 10 times, your turbine's gonna get destroyed. So access to Pack-a-Punch isn't that easy. Especially in solo, because in solo, the zombie will they always get attached to the buildable. So if you put down a turbine and a zombie happens to walk by it before they get to you, they're gonna target it. And so in the meantime, while you're running towards the thing, your thing is getting destroyed. And by the time you get there, it's destroyed. There's also little subsections in the fog that isn't really talked about, but they're there. Noctur Toten is there. There's a cornfield that takes you under a pylon. That's part of the Easter egg. And there's also a little hunter's cabin, which is where you get the Bowie knife. There's also a church area, which really doesn't have anything. It's just like a little small area. And let me see what else is there. Cornfield. And there's just woods. Yeah. I don't think there's anything else. But there was a whole funny meme about the scrapped Route B. I remember I spent hours on transit walking in the fog just trying to look for it. Because this is like a time when it was new, so no one knew it wasn't real. So I would just spend hours upon hours, multiple days, just roaming the fog, trying to find this Route B. But no, there was nothing there. I guess I could have done better things, like actually play the game. But the Easter egg for this map is kind of split. There's two parts of it. One for Richtofen and one for Dr. Maxis. I don't really remember the steps because once again, you needed 4 people and I didn't have anyone to do it with. But at the end, you gotta power the pylon for either Richtofen or Maxis following each step. I'm pretty sure the Richtofen one is the less annoying one, while the Maxis one is the more annoying one. Because like you have to like EMP 4 different lamps at the same time. And getting the EMP, it was in the mystery box, so it would be random. So and then you got to build the jet gun, which is kind of iconic, but it's infamous, what I'd say. especially this iteration of it. So you had to find multiple parts throughout the map in those subsections. One in the tunnel leading from the bus depot to the diner. There was one in Nocturne Toten, one in the hunter's cabin, and I believe one downstairs where the power supply area is under the catwalk. Once you get all those parts, you run to town in the bar downstairs. It's like buildable bench. That's where you build the jet gun. The premise of the jet gun is a jet engine that sucks up the zombies. But if you let it overheat, it blows up, and then you gotta find all the parts again and build it again. All right, give me a second. Alright, I'm gonna try to speed run this now because I did not think this was gonna happen, but yeah. Okay, Nuketown, good survival map. High Rise, kind of sucks, I'm not gonna lie. Mob of the Dead, a bit overrated, but fun. Easter egg, very iconic. First, map of Jace Blundell. Buried, is C tier. Origins, I put in C tier too, it's not the best. Okay, so I never played any of the Advanced Warfare zombies because it was pretty bad. It started out good because like the introduction. Shadows good. The Giant. This was the better Doris version. The Eisen Jacket. It's pretty A tier, but I put in B tier because my friends always wanted to play it and I hated it. Setsubo no Shima, overly hated but really good map. Govard Crovey, overrated as hell. It had a broken Easter egg for the longest time. People refused to believe that. Revelations, either A or B tier on a good day because I really like it. BL3 Nocturne Totem, B tier because it was pretty good. This one's also B tier. No, it's A tier. Yeah. It was a lot of good stuff. This one's also A tier. This one's the better version. Ascensions. I mean, the monkeys were less of an issue because you were kind of faster in this map. And the gobblegums, you can just pop a nuke and kill them. Shangri-La, it's better. Moon is probably like the BL3 version is probably the best version of Moon. I put Origins in B tier. I've never played these, but I heard good things about the Infinite Warfare maps. Right, the Final Reich. On a good day, this is a good map. Introduce the classic and hardcore version of Easter eggs. Grouse, Groston House, really good. Small survival map and it's challenging. Darkest Shore, I never got the DLC because I was broke. Voyage, it's kind of mixed. I used to hate it, kind of like it now. Like the Easter egg song is pretty cool. The small little Easter eggs. IX, it's B tier. It's not the best. Blood of the Dead. People hate this map, but I really like it. I used to play it a lot. The only bad thing I'd say is the rotating Pack-a-Punch. Classified is an S tier, the best version of 5 in my opinion. Dead of the Night, S tier. Really good map. Ancient Evil, I'd put it A tier. Not the best map. Alpha Omega, people don't like this as well. I thought it was a really good campy map. Tagger Toten, really good. D Machina, a good launch map, I'd say, but not the best map. It's like has Nocturne Toten elements, but also new stuff. It's pretty good. Firebase C, also there. Outbreak, I'd say it's an S tier for the experience alone. It's multiple maps in one, and you could just have fun casually walking around. Malder Toten, A tier. Forsaken is A tier as well. Alright, so these maps. I know there's a Vanguard tier because the meme is the Vanguard maps suck, but they're pretty good. I'd say Daron Fong is actually B tier. Terra Maledicta C tier. Which one is which? Shino Numa, I put in A tier. The Easter egg's pretty hard. This one I never played because I gave up on Vanguard. Terminus is A tier. Liberty Falls, fun map. Citadel Dermores, good Easter egg and boss fight. The Tomb, everyone hates the Tomb. It's overly hated. It's another one of those all YouTubers said it's bad, so it's bad. So B. Shattered Veil is an A tier map. I don't really like the Dead Ops. Yeah, put it in D. And that's my list. I'd go a little bit more into detail, but I can't really talk much anymore because family's here and they're gonna get loud. So I'm just trying to speed run this. But yeah, I could have went on for like 2 more hours. It's a pretty good list. I know there's not a lot of S tiers. There's some maps I would put higher out of personal experience. Like if I could say what my favorite maps are, a lot of them there would be a lot more S tiers. I kind of want to put it like based on how the map was, the Easter egg, what it introduced, and everything. So I think that'll be all. So thanks for watching.